Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson football channel for 6 things that we learned from Barnsley 0, Chelsea 1 in the 5th round of the FA Cup, setting up a home tie in the quarter-finals against Sheffield United. Chelsea have been very lucky with our FA Cup draw this season. No disrespect to any of the teams that we faced, but the first time we play a Premier League side is at home to the team bottom of the table in the quarter-finals. So despite drawing Atletico Madrid in the Champions League, which is arguably the hardest tie we could have had, we've got it good in the FA Cup so far. It was probably one of the most dull games of football I think I've ever witnessed in my entire life. But before we get into the analysis, I would love to ask you to subscribe if you are new here to GBFC. We are crawling towards 200,000. It's a bit slow, but we're getting there slowly. And if you do enjoy this series, make sure to hit the like button on today's video. It helps me out a little bit. And there's a lot to talk about in this game. I often feel when it comes to footballing analysis, when it's not very good, it actually makes it a little bit easier to analyse. But we're going to get straight into box number 1, and it's Tammy Abraham with a green box. I think there were times until the goal, which by the way, I know there's going to be a lot of people sitting here thinking you beat Barnsley 1-0 with a goal that by the laws of the game should never have stood. And if it was at Stamford Bridge, VAR would have ruled this one out. It wouldn't have been a goal. It was offside. There's absolutely no qualms, no questions about it. It was a poor decision from the official, but at the end of the day, Tammy Abraham scores the winning goal in an FA Cup tie. But it wasn't just the goal that actually impressed me today. I think before the goal, I thought Tammy did absolutely nothing to get in the game. We weren't seeing the same kind of runs that we have been seeing in recent games from Timo Werner. I thought Tammy looked very sloppy, but the goal, he finishes it off. It's a good move. Billy Gilmore passed it to Reece James. Reece James, with the ball in front of Tammy, converts it. But the main thing I liked from Tammy was the defending. It was Didier Drogba-esque at times, you know, that header off the line, as important as the goal. Because Barnsley, credit to Barnsley, they were a totally different side in this game in the FA Cup compared to what we saw when they came to the Bridge earlier in the season. Kai Havertz gets himself a hat-trick. Chelsea hit them for 6. It becomes a bit of a cricket score, whereas today, they were by far, in my opinion, the better side. Chelsea never really got into any kind of flow in football. If you look at the pitch, it was very much what you expect from a trip up to Barnsley in the middle of February, where it's minus temperatures. They even had a player called Freezer, who was basically playing in his home, in a freezer. You know, it was bloody cold, and it was a tough one with the conditions, but Tammy Abraham did very well. I thought he was good. And we move into box number 2, and it is a yellow box for what I thought this game was going to teach us about Chelsea. I didn't think we were going to start the game again with 3 at the back. We're going to get into a little bit more the way that we actually played without the ball later on in this video. But I thought today, you know, we changed to a 4 at the back system in the second half, and we immediately looked a lot better. We started with 3 at the back, and I don't think it worked. And I think the reason it didn't work is because we see, not only do we need to invest in another centre-back, for sure, because I think Marcus Alonso or Emerson, or both of them at one point, were playing in the left centre-back position, which I just know that is not what Thomas Tuchel will want moving forwards. But it didn't work, you know. We never created any chances. We didn't have a single shot on target in the first half, and then in the second half we changed it. I like the fact that Tuchel made substitutions at half-time. He saw that the 3 at the back wasn't working, made changes to bring on both Reece James and Tony Rudiger. And again, I think we learned tonight that Rudiger is a very key part of Thomas Tuchel's defensive plans. I thought he was pretty good when he came on as well. Not good enough to get himself a box, but I wanted to see us change from the 3 at the back from the beginning of the game. And I think tactically, the way we set up in that first half, it wasn't correct. It wasn't good enough. We couldn't deal with the Barnsley press that we'll talk about in a moment. But box number 3, it's the one that I think everybody knows is coming today. It is a red box for Hakim Ziyech. I worried when Tuchel came in that playing with a 3-back system was going to be difficult for Hakim Ziyech to actually fit into this side. It's proved that so far, and then he's given the opportunity today. He starts playing in a 3-back system, gets completely shut out of the game. Every time he had the ball, he was, you know, I think there was one decent crossfield pass that I saw from Ziyech the entire first half. I was worried about him. I thought he was going to come off at half-time. I genuinely felt as though he was just totally off the pace. Whether it's been an injury or just a lack of match fitness, it's a worrying sign that Hakim Ziyech, just even when he goes into more of a central area playing with like a 4-2-3-1, even then when the ball came to him, he couldn't get control of the ball, which, you know, there's only so much blaming of the pitch we can do. And I think that if we are going to continue to use a 3 at the back system, I think Hakim Ziyech just doesn't fit in any position that I would look at in that side. And it's a struggle at the moment because obviously we know he's not been playing as many matches, he's not been getting as many minutes, he wants to be starting more minutes. We've heard him come out and say in interviews that yes, he's struggling to adapt to English football, but more so than anything else, he's not really had the minutes in recent weeks in order to actually allow us to see him start to adapt. I thought when he had the ball, he got crowded out by Barnsley players. Barnsley pressed us very well indeed, but he didn't do anything when he had the ball. And I think when you get this opportunity to show a new manager the quality that you have, the one thing we know from Ziyech is that he's always got that one moment of brilliance, that one moment of magic to completely light up and change a game. We didn't see that in any shape or form today, and it was not his best performance. I've given him a red. He comes off after 68 minutes. He didn't look happy, but quite frankly, he could have come off a lot earlier in the game. He didn't do anything for me today. And we move into box number 4, and it is a box for Reece James. He obviously started on the bench, and then he comes on. You can see Thomas Tuchel, as they were walking off at half-time, he's talking to Reece James, just basically saying, mate, get out there in the second half, change the game for us. It wasn't necessarily we went from playing bad and then Reece James came on and we ended up playing good, but I don't think it's a coincidence that Reece James comes on, we see him break through behind the Barnsley back line after a nice pass from Billy Gilmore. He gets the assist for Tammy Abraham. You could argue that it wasn't the smartest of balls, but when you're there and you're running with it, you're just trying to get it as close to the goal as possible for the striker to tap it in. Yes, it was offside, but I saw that Reece James today did come on, showed his strength. There were times where there were 1 or 2 Barnsley players trying to crowd him and he just muscles them off the ball. Little things like winning those little throw-ins or keeping possession and making those tackles was important. You know, there were times in the first half where Christensen was on and it looked as though when the Barnsley players were attacking, Christensen's still on the floor. Something that we kind of got used to during Christensen's days here at Chelsea. I'm not slating Christensen, this is about Reece James, but he showed his strength, he showed his quality, and the final ball for Tammy was perfect on a plate in order for him to score. We move into box number 5, and it's another red. You know, I'm happy that we got through to the quarterfinals of the Cup. We won the game, which, you know, in knockout football is all you can really do. Chelsea playing against teams that heavily press us when we have the ball, or that are constantly flooding forward with numbers when they do have the ball. I'm very worried about how this Chelsea team plays against sides like this. You know, Barnsley today played like a real top-end championship team. You know, they made it difficult, they used the pitch and the conditions to their advantage, but they pressed us so well for the entirety of the game. It made it scrappy, which allowed them to play the match on our terms. And if we really think about it, you know, in the first half, if we'd have gone in at half-time 2-0 down, but for a wonderful Kepa save and, well, a deflected shot from a Barnsley corner, that it could have gone anywhere. It could have gone in the back of the net, or if it didn't even hit the player, it probably would have gone in the back of the net, you know? So I worry about how this Chelsea team fare against teams that press so highly. And you know, when we see us play against a team like Liverpool or a Manchester City, after watching what I saw tonight against the Championship side that press us so well, it is worrying. You know, Atletico Madrid is coming up in a couple of weeks' time. Huge match in the Champions League. We go to Bucharest for the first leg, and then the second leg is back at the Bridge. That might change, and I expect it will probably change between now and then. But Barnsley, credit to them today, it's really shown that when teams do press against Chelsea, we struggle, not just under Tuchel in this one game, but also under Lampard as well. It was a big struggle, but we finish off and we move into box number 6. By the way, I know I'm kind of covering everything right now, but we've got the Yes Guys sign and the GBFC sign there, and I'm going to be putting it back in the office after this, and I'll try and find a way to not take up so much of the camera space that you guys can see it. But box number 6, I'm going to finish on a green for Kepa Arrizabalaga. There was a massive save that he made in that first half, quick reaction save down with his legs that kept Chelsea in the game really in that first half. You know, if we'd have gone in 1-0 down at half time, Yes, we might have seen a more sprightly Chelsea in the second half, but when you go 1-0 down against a team that were defending so compact and pressing so well as Barnsley did, you know, that's a big save from Kepa. And I think in the second half as well, we saw moments where he's got the ball at his feet and he distributes it very well. He distributes it quickly. He was playing with confidence tonight. You know, he made a couple of saves. There was once, I think, where he flapped at a corner. But other than that, he dealt with everything against a very tall Barnsley side. And I think you've got to give credit where credit is due. I thought it was a good performance today from Chelsea's goalkeeper in a game where there wasn't really much to talk about. There wasn't really much to shout about. Chelsea get the job done. It's a 1-0 away win, setting up a quarter-final tie against Sheffield United in the last 8 of the competition. Going to wrap this one up here. It wasn't a game that's going to live long in the memory, but as with always in this series, it's after every single game. We analyse what we've seen, and then I ask for you guys to leave the 6 things that you learned down in the comments below. Subscribe to GBFC if you are new. Got a big game coming up against Newcastle, and then we can start building and looking forward to that Champions League tie against Atletico. But thank you guys for watching today. Hit the like button if you enjoyed it, and I will catch you guys later. Come on, you Blues.